want to definitely put Sado on Winston. They also want to put Serve on Winston because that just recently, even just looking at the semi-finals, it's just been ridiculous. The Primal Rage is insane. The amount of space that both Sado and Smurf are able to create for people like Striker and Arns is just also ridiculous. Sado
slept.
Yeah, slept right out of the gate. Okay.
Well, Philadelphia's running something weird here. I mean, they've got the Reaper and a Genji. You don't see that together a whole lot. So running the shooty shotguns. More of a brawl style.
Sado's job here is actually just to kind of sit on Arns too, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I feel. As soon as Arns manages to set up, Hisu can't really deal with him. It's going to be up to Ivy and Sado to do that. A little bit of a flank here from the Fusion, stopping the Shock running to their spawn and playing the spawn game. Smurf ends up going down first, though. Ivy picking up first blood. However, Shock end up capping the point. Arns is still sitting on the high ground, but not in the position he really wants to be. He's actually at the back of the point, but you can see even Ivy's kind of scared to actually peek him. He does have Violet and Twilight sitting around him as well. But Smurf coming back, well, you know, delay the inevitable at this point. Arns does end up falling down, but Ivy falling next is not a good sign for the Fusion. They do manage to find the reflip, and in fact, a very early coalescence from Alarm to try and turn the tide of war. Even a nano boost being invested here by the Shock as well to try and get back onto this point. Please, Hero Sado, he's just so low. As soon as he hits the Primal Rage, though, he's going to get slept and grabbed as well. They're investing so much into Sado. He gets naded, but he's going to be able to get out alive. He had 1,000 HP. This fight is still going on. Another Graviton Surge is sent out, and Hisu cleans up the rest. Striker and Twilight fall, and the Fusion now grasping on control of the point still. 30% in building. Shock may have taken that point first. Although I say that, Astro and Smurf end up finding boots, and they're just going to go back in with the beat. Even the Blade from Ivy. This fight hasn't stopped yet.
Well, the Blade into the beat is great. When you're at low numbers like that, you know that you need to protect your Genji. The bubble comes in huge again.
Arns comes back on the Kree, and now, well, if you're Sado, you might as well stall for some additional time. They eventually kill him. Oh my word, that was a good 60% fight almost. Just adding both of them together. Arns, I can imagine, is probably going to just stick on the Kree here to try and counteract Hisu, but wow, what a beginning engagement.
I think you're going to see a lot of fights like that. This is an unstoppable force versus an immovable object because both these teams feel they can win when they're down heroes. Philadelphia has one of the highest win rates when they go down a person, and San Francisco, for some reason, can win 2v6 fights against every team in the league.
Speed bootness to shooting shotguns into the back line. You've got to be careful for Striker. You can't poke as easily here because you can get punched by Hisu so easily. Coalescence along with the dive onto the back line. Arms and Striker are in trouble. Healing is just so great from the Coalescence and forcing everybody back. You can see them all piling up in that corridor now. Astro finds a boop as well in the midst of chaos, and Hisu sitting on with the Death Blossom. Arns in trouble, and Hisu just playing Doorman right now. Graviton Surge onto the point, but no follow-up, so Fury's going to stay alive, but not for long as Striker throws in the Pulse Bomb. It's still fairly even, but Philadelphia Fusion are going to be able to come out on top as Sado kills both tanks. Arns is just going to go down as well. The Shock gained 65% there on that fight, and now the Fusion controlling again. They're going to match him in just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia's support line is just much more conducive to running initiations than the San Francisco Shock. San Francisco, a much more defensive support line, so you're seeing boosts in, and the big benefit you get from the Moira is being able to get Coalescence so quickly and fire and forget it and initiate with it. It's not a defensive ultimate necessarily for the supports, which a lot of them are. Rally comes in.
Yeah, Primal Rage used by Sado. They can use the Coal and the Blade. It might not be too bad at all. Sado gets slept too. Oh no, someone please help him. The Blade's going to come in as well as the Coalescence. Sado is going so low. He got anti-naded in that small room, so he couldn't even pick up the Mega Health Pack. The Blade didn't really get too much, but Fusion just need to buy time. Alarm and Sado do end up going down. It's now Hisu just to go scurry back to his spawn. They kill off Arns, and Ivy is still fighting in the front line, but Twilight's got all the protection he needs, and a little bit of firepower as well, as Ivy does end up going down, and Shock reclaim control of the point.
Well, Philadelphia does a good job there of just running it up to 96 and not burning ults there towards the end. I think actually they're better off having Ivy not get that kill onto Twilight, because I think that might have been the re-engagement kind of button there. But now Philadelphia is going to have Graviton, Barrier, and the Death Blossom here. Death Blossom is going to be difficult to get value out of with Shield Bash, with Sleep, and with the Flashbang. See if they can actually get something to work here. Grab in.
There's the grab. Oh, Hisu and Fury just melt joy. Oh, the Death Blossom in the front as well. That's 2 kills for Hisu. They claim the point. Oh, the Primal Rage from Smurf to try and bash everybody away. The flip comes through from the Fusion. Can anybody from the Shock touch? It's going to be one person at least to trigger OT, but can they get back? Yes, they can, but Smurf with no Primal Rage left isn't going to survive too long against Hisu. A Pulse Bomb gets thrown in as well, but even Hisu with a very aggressive TP forward. Arns with the high noon to spread everybody from the point, but it doesn't matter. Their Coalescence is going to help them finish this one off, and downtown belongs to the Fusion.
It's a really interesting composition from Philadelphia, and I think it's just really smart. They know that San Francisco wants to run dive, especially on control maps. When you see Smurf in, you know that the Winston's going to be there, and there's really no better counter to a Winston than having a Reaper of your own, the giant hitboxes, the straight brawl-up style, and then it's almost just like an old Soul Orb. Like, Winston's there, and you're just gaining health by plunking him away. A great style there, and Smurf, well, he straight up was not having a good time.
Yeah. It always kind of sucks when you're running into the Reaper because you end up going in the bubble, you're like, haha, I'm safe, and then Reaper just two-shots the bubble almost, and then just kind of walks towards your face. Plus, one headshot with the Hellfire shotgun's really close up with all the pellets hitting, you almost die. So, yeah, it can be rather punishing. Reaper also with the ability to escape too. Fusion still sticking with this comp, although they're running the Wrecking Ball this time around instead. A lot more disruption either.
It's going to be Ivy versus Ons, but it's Genji versus Widow instead. But someone has to check Ons. You can't let him free fire.
Definitely not just going to sit on him, I can imagine. Oh, or Sado's going to do just that. Look at the protection, though, they're throwing onto Arns. They know if they keep him alive and give him the space, he can get the work done. One of the sharpest shooters, not only in the West, but just in Overwatch in general. Anton Sniper, he's got that name for a reason. And Isu's already burned the rank form here, so he's going to have to play a little bit more safe, and so does Astro. Arns was almost mid-air, it looked like there, and he hit the headshot. That's a good start. Dueling out with the Moira, not something you want to do unless you're behind a shield. Oh, Ivy may have taken out Violet, but it's all over. Like, Arns is on fire currently. He's warmed up in the semi-finals, and now he's clicking the heads. They claim control of the point first.
And it's not like Philadelphia doesn't know that this is coming, and they're sending people after it, but it's essentially Ivy and Sado trying to take down 6 people in the form of a sniper, because San Francisco's giving all the support in the world to Ons. These immortality fields are coming down. The Discord is going on ham as soon as he comes in. Everybody is playing around Ons. They understand that this map can be decided by a Widowmaker and a Widowmaker alone. And despite Philadelphia, oh my god!
Oh my god. Yep, well there it is. You reset. There's literally nothing you can do.
You don't have enough healing to do anything here. Like, you just don't.
Strike him. Oh no, he's minus 1 HP. Someone please heal him. There we go, nice one. Okay, so you go for the reset again, but Arns going to be able to get sights up here rather shortly, X.
Yeah, and now he's going to know when he's getting dived, and the rest of his team's just going to be there again, so it's absolutely no worries. Also, Striker out in front of him is a great move.
What? Sado was in the back line that entire time. 3 people surrounding Violet wasn't enough to actually save it. The power driver with the mine. Sado now just paying attention to Arns, or at least trying to. Now he hasn't got the protection that he really wants. Twilight unleashes the window, but he ends up going down. San Francisco Shock, it's okay to lose the point here, to be fair. You're up to 86% and a little bit more. Shock are more than happy with that. Coming into the next fight, they have Supercharger. They're going for the Flux too. Arns making a couple of switches, though. It's changing over to the Kree now.
Okay, the McCree helps a lot against a Reaper and a Genji. Of course, Flashbang is something you think about a lot, but both of those heroes, I mean, you hit him with a single headshot, and then you're going to bait out deflect, you're going to bait out dash away, and also hitting a Reaper with a headshot, you can also bait out raid form. So, yes, Flashbang is good against those heroes, but single shots from Ons will also shut them down.
Really early coalescence here, but Sado actually went all the way into the back line and got insta-killed. Immortality Field's already been used, and Choi just kills 2 people. Now, look at all the ults they have. They can just throw everything here in at once. They're going to go for the flank, kill off Alarm as he's already used Fade. A bit of Street Blade coming out from Ivy, ends up going down. Twilight Striker just fill up the kill feed, and Shock find the flip. 93% now for the Shock, and they still have not only a pulse bomb, but they have the Flux as well. It seems almost impossible now for them to lose this. Sado dies before he can even get to the point. Violet with the Discord Orb, a halt, a rock, and that was it. Arns just finished him off with a final shot, and they're going to tie up Busan.
Hi, we talk about how these are the best teams in North America, and sometimes when you watch them and the switches they make, the adjustments they make mid-map, it does seem like San Francisco and Philadelphia are playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers. And just the insta switches, knowing how things are working out for your team and what needs to be fixed, what's the counter, what do you anticipate, like the film study is there. Both these teams seem super prepared. 1-1 on our first control map, and man, I hope we go to 7 today. That's all I ever hope for, is some good Overwatch.
Don't forget, this is a best of 7.
First to 4, we could go to 8, 9.
If they just continually draw. But signs point to no on that one, unfortunately. Yeah, 'cause it's not a UK versus South Korea in the World Cup again. Stunning. Look how much they're putting into Arns at this point. They're just helping him set up on the high ground just permanently. And they're actually just going to do a little bit of a switcheroo now as they do swap sides of the map, as Philadelphia Fusion know that they can't really give Arns the space, but they're not really given a choice in this matter. It's literally just like they move one side and Shock moves the other. They move that side and then Shock then rotates again. You can see it right here. The point does end up getting capped by the Shock. Fusion have a little bit more point presence though with this May from Ivy, but now Arns can set up in the back line, and if you don't pay attention to him, he's going to start clicking heads, and it's going to be up to Hisu to try and chunk him out from afar, but it's just the hardest thing to do with a McCree.
Philadelphia is giving Arns a ton of respect, and well-deserved, because they are just sitting behind pillars. No one is even peeking.
Just ring around the Rosie Hex.
They can't get in, though.
I mean, they've got a Lucio in Astro to try and charge forwards. There's the wall also. The Immortality Field gets used to try and save Smurf. It ends up going down, but they still manage to navigate themselves to the high ground without losing anybody. One big cooldown down. Oh, a headshot onto Arns, and Hisu finishes it up. The Coalescence is going to be good as well to end this fight. That's what they really needed. This bunker strategy from the Shock, just protecting the President Arns. It's only going to work for so long. As soon as Fusion gets ults online, yeah, speed boost, Coalescence, and then Ivy going for the flank. They managed to cap the point as well, but Shock with not a bad time at all. 47% already built up.
Well, at some point with a Lucio, they were going to catch up to them. Ivy was able to put down a nice wall, and it forced everybody to stay around to try to keep the tanks alive. And then after that, a nice icicle headshot and a cleanup onto Arns. And with the raid boss down, Philadelphia boosts in and cleans it up. Striker going down early. That's a loss you can afford to take and still try to push in.
He's back momentarily. Just, on the flank alone. Can't hear Striker. As of course, Striker's crouching, but obviously we can see as we do have X-ray vision. It's a window open fairly early, however, that's just going to get walled off, and both the tanks are in trouble. Break the pillars, you should be okay. Still using that window to good effect, however the Blizzard is going to come through, matching with the Transcendence. A big shadow in the front, that Transcendence is going to run out sometime shortly. A huge pin onto Arns. That was just a pure flowchart there, just waiting for that Blizzard to come out, and then they trans, and then guess what? We got a shadow to follow up. Normally it's pretty tough, you know, going against double shields, but Sado makes it work still. He does end up going down himself, but Astro can taxi him back with the Lucio.
All right, so double shields, different variations on both sides for San Francisco. They're going to be running in Orisa. Philadelphia is, of course, on the Reinhardt. It allows them to rotate and try to cover the double shield entrances a little bit easier. Philadelphia also with a little bit better shield crack, but not by much.
Oh, Hisu missed! Hisu missed! He's going to die to flames! Oh, he does. He dies to the Dynamite. They end up trading, however, in an early flux from Fury to kill off Choi. Philadelphia Fusion still in a good position, and 80% on the board as well, Hex. So Shock are going to be able to come back and answer switch over to the Emergency Widow. He needs one pick in this fight, and it could be all theirs.
Double support ults, though, for Philadelphia. They have been holding on to
these
good. What a rock!
Coalescence is going to come out farther soon as well. In fact, all support ultimates have been thrown in. Arns manages to snipe alarm. Coalescence not available anymore, but Hisu manages to take him out. He's on the flank this whole time. The High Noon has been used. He's got the rocket. Hisu, God, on the sidelines, takes the 2v1, and the Philadelphia Fusion will go one map up in the series.
Hisu takes a bit of a siesta at the end of that one. Well earned. If you took the nameplate off, you would think that was Carpe. That is the depth of the Philadelphia Fusion team that they've waited all year to be able to flex on the different compositions. And, you know, Philadelphia, it looked not great early on because they were just playing so close together behind shields constantly until they were able to finally close the distance. Philadelphia was able to beat the San Francisco Shock. And we shall see. Ons on offense is going to be on the Sombra first, but maybe this is just to allow the versatility.
Well, they're going to know that Hisu's on this Sombra as well. I wonder if Ons does end up switching. I'm not sure he is. He's kind of doing damage, less about scouting. High ground control, name of the game for Watchpoint Gibraltar. You see Smurf just kind of escorting the payload. I mean, the best thing for Hisu here is basically just to get behind the enemy lines and just start poking at the tanks. Hisu's going to be able to get priority control of the health packs. Well, oh dear, inside his own bubble. And Choi, oh, whoops-a-daisy, gets booped off the map as well. There is someone still pushing the payload. It is Striker. Fury cleans up the rest, though, and stops the payload from moving too. Now Hisu can just set up really well. It's kind of a soft counter to Striker 2. Striker's dead. Yeah, that's a pretty stacked skill, actually. It's a kind of a soft counter to the Tracer, because if you hack all the health packs, Hex, you can't really scurry anywhere. You literally have to go back to your healers in order to get healing. So it can be very annoying for Striker to actually get a lot of space and do work in the backline.
And it's also going to be somewhat difficult for Twilight to heal the Tracer as well. I mean, Tracer's a small target far away, and you don't really want to be standing still as a Tracer. So it's up to Violet to just try to toss him packs, and that's less packs for everybody else.
Tracer pretty fast.
Smart packs.
Should be fine. Going to get around the corner. Slow, grueling push here. Oh my god, that was so low. Oh, the nano boost onto the blue box. Oh dear, he does get slept. Oh, and they leave him too. Oh, this is disaster. Sado just leapt up to the moon and then got slept and hacked. And now the EMP's going to come out though. Smurf, Choi, Arns, they've all been hacked. Striker sends out the post bomb but doesn't quite find anybody. That's a beautiful counter EMP there from the Fusion. Hisu spotted how many members of the Shock were kind of in and around his team, hits that EMP, and manages to take out Smurf, or at least to attempt to help him. Graviton Surge into the front line as well. Violet jumps into the bubble to try and heal everybody up, but it's not going to work. The Fusion continuing to hold this payload.
And they invested everything that they had going into that one. Ons dies, but he is going to be the absolute key to their next fight. He's going to have an EMP ready, and that's about all they have to work with. Funny Astro will have a rally to perhaps counter that. Philadelphia not working with a ton themselves. Let's see if the Ons Sombra can get something done here.
See what he's playing. He's still kind of with the team currently.
We're at 90 seconds, and they're just past Car Wash.
You only need one fight, however. I heard Hisu's beacon, who had a little call out from far behind. And Hisu is closing in on an EMP of his own. If he can kind of get this ASAP, they may be able to counter EMP, but Striker has seen him, so he's going to have to back off. Now they both have EMP. EMP first from the Fusion. Shock again, a little bit late to the party. Hex once more. Ivy and Arns do end up trading out, but Sado is staying alive with this Primal Rage. This is a good look for the Fusion right now. Ivy's going to be able to get back rather fast too. Arns can come back with the EMP of his own, but the Fusion are going to be able to hold the high ground. A Graviton Surge on to the point. The Pulse Bomb goes a little bit wide. In fact, I think it was bubbled by Choi. And now Fury just runs to the back line and kills off Twilight and Choi. The EMP has come out. Hex, it hit 3 people. Hisu ends up falling. It's Striker and Smurf's duty now to try and clean up this fight. But Fury's going to be able to get kept alive, and he's still holding this grab. Shock are just all over the place on this map. Indecisiveness with these EMPs is not landing them in a good space. 25 seconds now remaining for them to put this payload in the first point.
I mean, if you were going to run Sombra the whole time, I don't know why like Striker doesn't run it or Rascal doesn't run it. Ons' Sombra, he plays it aggressively, and he EMP'd and he died immediately. And yes, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but the follow-up damage needs to be there from even just the Sombra, and also getting the secondary hacks when EMP starts fading, and he's out of the fight.
Okay, Ons
Desperation Widow.
Pick. I mean, this is it. This is the true desperation pick.
Blade,
always has been. Choi gets hacked as well. He can't go to the payload. Someone has to touch. Someone has to touch. The Tracer does in the end, but Smurf ends up getting caught out alone. And now the Blade's going to be big. Fury doesn't end up going down. I say the Blade's going to be big. The Graviton Surge went wide as well, but the damage is really there. And finally, Arns gets taken out. Ivy may have been slept, and Twilight does pull it off. The miracle sleep on the Blade, but with Striker the only surviving member from the Shock on the payload, is they going to be able to do too much with just a single pick? The Fusion are going to halt them just before first point. It's either you get held at first, or you make it all the way to the third point and finish on this map. There is literally no in between. And this time around, the Philly hold them. Shock again with the EMPs. Hisu was 75%-ish. He was around that kind of bracket, and Arns had EMP. And I said, Hisu needs to build up EMP, maybe go for a counter. Nope, Hisu built up EMP, hit it, and Shock hadn't used theirs yet. And they just get rolled over. And then they were in a clutch situation, and Arns ended up using it, hitting 2 people, but then there was no follow-up.
Yeah. And Sado didn't die at all that map. He was getting primal every minute 15. Hisu, 1 minute and 20 on the EMP charges, ends up with 16 enemies hacked, only 8 EMPs, so the individual hacks also coming in huge. San Francisco only managed 6 kills that entire offense. It's not the best comp for San Francisco. Unfortunately, it's very popular in the meta to be running the Sombra, and you know, San Francisco, the signing window's closed. Otherwise, I'm sure they just signed the best Sombra we've ever seen play somewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, just I feel like Arns, and I kind of thought they put him on the Widowmaker here because it is such a good Widowmaker map, or even
it makes
Ash
sense,
to be fair as well. I mean, he's going to be on the Sombra yet again. And it is
very
defendable, mind you, just make you aware. Like, it is very defendable. Most teams currently, we must have a stat for it somewhere.
I think the thought was San Francisco thinking, like, hey, when we get to last point, because we're San Francisco.
Wait, what was that? They were just angrily looking at each other, and then Sado falls over because Choi punched him in the face.
Looked like some cover art.
It really did, actually. Both of them looking at each other, just angrily, just mouse wadding through bubbles. Oh my god, that was funny.
Well, it's going to slow down Philadelphia just a little bit, but this is where you're getting all the free push anyway. They pressure out Ons just with a triple shuriken shot.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate from Ivy, actually. Shurikens are fairly hard to land. It's a very unique weapon. It's like Lucio's in a way. It's rather unique. The right click not so much, but the left click is a certain knack to this. A certain skill.
Right click is just shuriken shotgun.
Yeah, you right click, you gain ult. You right click, you ult. That's what Genji's life is currently. Blue box control for the fusion here, though, which is really good because Alarm can set up really nicely.
Yeah, he's just chilling. And, I mean, if you're a Winston, like, you're almost afraid to even dive this.
Nice bubble there from Choi to cleanse the purple from Smurf. That could have been horrible if he got dove on there.
Let's have Nano. Nano for both teams. Smurf's hacked, though.
Yeah, Ivy's going to wait, though. You don't want to Nano just yet. All they do, in fact, they actually Nano Sado is the Mega Health Hammer, so they're going to be able to go in with the Blade. They do can take control of the payload as well. Violet is going to be purple, and Striker now managing to finish up Sado. Okay, good start from the Shock. They don't want to let go of this space just yet. And yeah, they're going to be able to back off. Fusion, they know they can't win this fight. Just making sure the Shock invest things here is going to be good for their ultimate economy. They still have 2 minutes, of course, and the payload is 10 meters away from being completed.
Yeah, San Francisco leading on some important ults as well. They're going to have Rally much quicker at about 20% more, and they already have their Graviton Surge up. For me, this one is all about the Sombras. Hisu should definitely be able to get this. Oh, he gets a Translocator!
It's going to be good.
No one's able to capitalize, but now Hisu's got his EMP. He who Qs first might just win this map.
Yeah, well, if Fusion know they need to Q first because they've got Blade as well. Alarm could even build up to another Nano. They could, in fact, wait for an entire rotation of the Nano here to end up winning 6 ults. Twilight with the sleep onto Sado. He's going to be safe, though. There's the EMP. Hisu is going to throw it out. Ivy's going to get purple as well. The Blade comes through, and Striker and Arns have already just dished out so much damage that they end up going down. Striker with a 3-piece of his own. That's a lot invested from the Fusion. The Shock. They now have the Nano. They've got the Grav, and they have the Pulse Bomb too. They've got a clear win condition. The EMP and the Nano didn't end up... Sorry, the EMP and the Blade for the Fusion didn't end up working here. So more of an even playing field as we enter into this last fight. However, Astro, with the Rally, is going to be pretty big.
Rally, Nano, Grav. I mean, you can get a lot done here, especially with an individual hack. I mean, if they can hack the opposing Zarya and get their Grav off, they can win this map. And so long. Gets healed.
Okay, Nano Boost onto the Winston again. There's going to be a nice bubble from Choi. Look at him just kind of holding the fort currently. Yeah, he's going to get tickled from the back there, but Arns already ends up going down. Smurf as well. Choi manages to find one, and Graviton Surge in the payload too. The Pulse Bomb's going to be big. There's a personal bubble in the way though. And Fury manages to stay alive and is now at 100 energy. Choi gets burnt down. And now Philadelphia Fusion in control of the payload. 20 seconds remaining, and the Shock need to touch. Striker gets back in time, but gets bashed, instantly killed off. The purple launches the supports as well, and the Fusion tie up the series. What a piece, as they manage to hold the Shock before the first point and cap now as well. This was going to be close, Hex, but I didn't think it was going to be this close.